So in the early 2000s, I was across the street. If you look over to your left, I actually brought my prop at the York County Courthouse in one of those top floors, and I was facing one of the judges while he was asking me, give me a good reason why I shouldn't lock you up right now. I told him that I had just secured my second job and that I had just passed my real estate courses, and I was going to take my exam in the next 2 days. I was on the verge of changing myself into a new man. He paused and he looked at me, and then he said, lock him up. 177 days. And I began counting with my fingers before, and then the sheriff kind of like put my hands behind my back, handcuffed. And those 177 days, I learned a lot of things. I learned how to play chess, dominoes. I've read a lot of books. In fact, one of those books showed me or taught me the significance of my name Carlos, which is ironically a free man while I was in jail. When my 177 days were over, I did what any free man would do, and that is to celebrate my liberty with really bad decisions soaked with alcohol. And it was also my friend's birthday. So we started off at one of my favorite bars, which used to be on George Street. It was an Irish pub called Maywin's. And then our group got smaller, and we ended up at Cairo's, another bar on George Street, when the bartender finally said, last call. We weren't done. I said, okay, can you give us another pitcher? But this time, one each. It's 3 of us. And she said, you have to finish this before we close. And I said, give us 3 pitchers and 3 straws. Whoever was the last one to drink the pitcher would have to pay the whole tab. I was the last one. So we're walking out this bar, and my 2 friends behind me start horseplaying. And then one of them pushes me into the floor. And I get up, he starts laughing, and out of nowhere, I just swing at him. 2 punches. And this guy is much bigger than me, probably double the size of me. And I knew like if he grabbed me, I was done. And he lunged at me, but immediately we heard the cop. The cop got out and said, are you guys fighting? I said, no, we're not fighting. We all said we're not fighting. And she looked at my knuckles and said, why are your knuckles bleeding? I said, my friend lives a block away from here. We just had an argument. We can just go home. And she said, if I see you guys again, you guys are coming with me. So we hug it out, and we start walking a block down. And we start drinking again. And then we start fighting again. And eventually this fight gets to that cemetery on George Street. And this guy, like I said, is bigger. I'm at the point where I'm exhausted, and I know I have to do something real quick because it could end up being very bad. I try to put him on a chokehold, and he bites my bicep and takes a piece of it. And I don't know how I did it, but I did manage to put him on a chokehold. We passed out. They wake us up. Paramedics, a bunch of ongoing, like a big crowd. And they're telling me to walk into the ambulance. And I tell them, no, listen, my friend lives like a block away. We just had a little argument. I'm going home. And then the cop that had first pulled us over, or talked to us, said, do you remember what I said? You either get into the ambulance or you come with me. So that was a really quick decision. I said, okay, ambulance it is. I wake up with a $15,000 invoice from the hospital for some Tylenols and some Rap. My friend also passed out, and he ended up waking up in a different hospital. He called me later that day, and like if nothing happened. We're still friends. And I'm actually his realtor. I just helped him buy his other house. But I think we overdid it that night. And if you think you're overdoing it, don't wait till you're walking into the back of a hospital. I mean the ambulance. Sorry.